are encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
Damn good coffee and hot.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with a Dog. You make me laugh.
Probably not going to make it. I'm not going to make it. Good morning, folks. It's Friday, January 12th, 2024. I hope you're having a great morning. Most of the middle of America is going to be bracing for some severe weather again today. Not sure what's going on the West Coast, but the southern part of the United States all the way up to Canada, supposedly getting some severe weather today. I hope you are safe and all that kind of stuff through all that nonsense. Here, we're kind of being spared it. So I am grateful for that. I don't mean to rub it in, but it's not going to be too bad today. Anyway, it is Friday. Yesterday, interesting thing happened. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I'm really not sure if this person who is a comedian or just a hoaxer, prankster, a troll on Facebook, social media, all that kind of stuff, wherever he was, but somebody by the name of Rich Hutchinson, and he posted something that it's getting to the point where it's just like you can't talk to people. Everybody thinks they're a stand-up comedian now. If that were the case, and there are a lot of musicians, but not everybody thinks they're a professional musician, even though there are some great ones who will never perform professionally. But here, let me just read you what they posted, and we'll start the conversation there. He says, a lot of people tell me that I'm the funniest person they ever met, and easily a top 5 comic. Easily a top 5. A lot of people tell you that. I don't think. Listen, I know a lot of people who say their friends tell them they're funny. A top 5 comic is something all completely different. He says, easily a top 5 comic. They always ask me why I don't do comedy. The simple answer is I don't give my talents away for free. Every open mic I've heard of does not pay. I have a motto. It's got a motto. I'll bring the funny if you bring the money. If Chris Rock and Dane Cook can make millions, shouldn't I at least be paid in the thousands? Comedians always talk about being broke. It's because they are not getting paid for their talents. I'm standing up for my rights and by not giving away my comedy for free. Well, it's an interesting thing because I have really been against the idea of giving away your art. I kind of mentioned this to GD the other day when we were talking about CDs. If you give somebody a CD, they'll never pay for it. Play it. They'll never play it. They'll just use it as a coaster. His mother didn't even bother opening it, and I've been there too, giving stuff away, and then see it in a dusty old drawer in their house, never opened, never even paid attention to. If you give your art away, nobody will ever appreciate it. People only appreciate what they pay for, and there is something to getting paid for your art that inspires you to create, even if it's $1. Somebody put down $1 of their hard-earned money for what it is you created. It will inspire and motivate you to do better work. And next time you probably get paid more. I got that from, believe me, that's not an original thought. I got that very early in life from watching Bob Ross videos in the late 1970s. Um, Bob Ross, the Happy Bush painter, would say that frequently. Don't give your art away, sell it. Even if you sell it for $1, it will inspire you and motivate you to do more. So I appreciate the idea of wanting to get paid for whatever you do. But you have to understand there is a huge difference between making your friends laugh and being a professional comedian and comparing yourself to Chris Rock or thinking of yourself as a top 5 comic before you've ever taken a stage, before you've ever put a microphone in your hand, it's just ridiculous. Um, it's like a kid in Little League thinking they're Barry Bonds. It's just it's a ridiculous thing to think about. Now, I think they should get paid something, even at an open mic. But again, it doesn't have to be a lot of money. But I do think people should get paid at an open mic, uh, because if the venue is basing their business off of people coming through the door, they need people to perform. Otherwise, nobody would be in the club. So they should get something. But thousands, or comparing yourself to stars who have established themselves in through experience and hard work and understanding all that stuff. Now, the other part of that is even after they were established, I don't know this to be a fact about those two particular comics that he mentioned, Chris Rock and Dane Cook, but lots of very successful comedians still go to open mics or drop in for a few minutes on a at a comedy club where there is minutes available to try out new material without getting paid. So the dynamic and the paradigm is completely different. And I think it's arrogant to think you're worth thousands when you haven't done it before, ever. You have no experience at all. It's just it's beyond arrogant in my view. It's just it's real. And so I reposted it on Twitter and on Facebook, and got some really interesting comments on it. I don't think they're done. Um, People are angry. People are upset with the guy. Some people are saying that it's just like a troll trying to tweak people. But I think trolls trying to tweak people don't sign their real name to it. So I'm not one of the ones who thinks that this guy is just trying to get under the skin of comedians. But it's kind of a disturbing thing. I hear it all the time. People who are friends of mine, and I mean, when you're talking to comedians, what's what's the point of talking to comedians? I'm funnier than them. No, you think you're funnier than them. Maybe you're you think fart jokes and dick jokes with your friends are a craft, but they're not. They're just you practicing whatever it is you do in your buddy room, your with your in your comfort zone. It's never the same trying to make a complete stranger. I would issue this challenge: if you think you're funnier than a comedian, go up to a stranger, not in a comedy club, anywhere in a shopping mall or a store or a stadium or a gas station, and see if you can make them laugh in 2 minutes, because that's about what you're gonna get your first time at an open mic night, 2 to 3 minutes tops. Anyway, that's my take on it. Now that's where we're gonna start the conversation. This morning, 2 people who I think, understand the paradigm, and this guy also. Good morning, gentlemen.
Hiya. Is everyone else?
Yeah, we're watching GD act like he thinks he's muted, but he's not.
Oh, okay.
Nope, you have no audio.
Man.
No, you have no audio. Fuck. Fuck.
When I was a boy
Wait,
in
let's
Mississippi.
do like Godzilla overdubs to GD. Go ahead, say something, and we'll. Godzilla, chase me, run, Godzilla, Zilla. I don't know what he's saying. Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, Carl. Good morning,
Hello.
Willie. So the question on the table is for, and you've heard it before, and you guys know about this stuff. The people who think they can just go up and do stand-up comedy because they made their friends laugh at a dick joke or something, and they think they should be paid thousands because I'm funnier than Chris Rock or Dane Cook.
Willie's also muted. This is a grandstand of technical capability today.
Oh yeah, no, it's this is the technical difficulty show. Willie, you're muted too.
Let's get these 2 out of it.
Yes,
come on, they're done. They're fired.
Everybody's muted. We're all muted. Anyway, good morning, Carl. Oh, now GD, you got your muted button on, so that's what it looks like with you.
I had something come through.
I don't know. It's really weird.
Right, we need to keep the show rolling.
What about now? Can you? Okay, yeah, you can hear me now,
every
right?
Day. Every day. You can't put this out. What about now? Fired.
Yeah, you can't change your settings. Don't ever change your settings.
Don't touch anything. Don't
Don't
look
ever
at anything.
change my settings from this right here.
Yeah, you can't leave the chair.
Yeah, don't ever leave the chair.
Yeah. That's.
Anyway, we have Dylan Times coming on at 10:15 today, who is doing a show at the Sober Show in Sioux Falls, South Dakota today. Dylan seems to be one of these guys who is, I don't know this, but I can't find out a whole lot about his. Doesn't seem like he's a full-time comedian. It seems like he takes shows when or creates shows sometimes when opportunity presents itself. But
he produces
no sound, GD.
shows here he produces quite a few shows here in the Sioux Falls area. I don't know how long he's been at it. I don't think he's been at it too awful long, maybe like 2 years or so, maybe. But yeah, he definitely is a go-getter. You know what I mean? He put together the show that I'm on tonight, the Sober Show that's happening at Black Flag.
Black Flag is the name of the venue?
Yeah, it's actually Black Flag Studios is actually a tattoo shop, but they have like a little lounge area in the like room adjacent. And so, and it's only, it's a small little spot, only like maybe 20 or 30 people, but it'll be a nice little show.
Because it's a tattoo shop, is that why it's a dry show? Because they don't have a liquor license?
That I think that is part of it. Although I think there is. They do have some options for that because they've had other shows where it's kind of BYOB or whatever. So there's an allowance because like there is a bar in that mini mall and the one guy owns the whole thing, and I think that their liquor license covers the whole property, but technically they're not set up that way because there's a bar called La Coretta in the same like little spot.
Now, but I'm curious: the audience is going to be sober too? It's not just the comedians, right?
Well, I think so. I mean, I would imagine that recovery type people will come to the show. I've definitely built it that way, and I've had a number of recovery people ask me about it. So I'm hoping that it will be like a recovery type crowd. Those are kind of my people. I love doing recovery shows, actually.
That's really it's I would think difficult, but kind of
Why do you
makes
think that?
because people are much more relaxed and primed to laugh when they're a little bit loosened up. Not
I
necessarily
mean, that's
drunk.
true, but in my opinion, recovery people are often much more willing to laugh at the darker shit, which is kind of my MO anyway. So I go over with the recovery crowd pretty well because most of my material is tales of what not to do. You know what I mean?
I wonder if GD is sober. GD, are you sober?
I don't. Can you hear me? First of all.
I can hear
Yeah.
you.
Yes, we can hear.
Okay.
Got a little bit of an
Yes.
echo, but I can kill that. Hold on, let me see. Go ahead, talk. Nope.
Now nothing. Yeah, what happened there?
Yeah, no.
Put
Put on echo cancellation and turned it off, and now we can't hear you at all anymore.
Yeah, we heard that. Try again.
That's because all GD is an echo.
Yeah, just by killing the echo.
We could have scored for GD. But it's going back to what you said about being paid at open mics. A lot of bars don't even pay the promoter. And the ones that do, there's a lot of promoters here that run 10 shows in a town. They take all the money and give the comics nothing.
I understand, and that's been the way for 40, as long as there have been comedy clubs.
I find that's disgusting. You should at least put a drink behind the bar and a couple of dollars or whatever.
Something.
You know, at least.
Yeah.
Because I know people that make a good living from it, and they give nothing to the comics. They don't even turn up to the shows. They just promote it.
I'm guilty of comparing music to comedy way too much and way too often and way too literally. But in the music world, and there still are open mics, but I have been railing against that. That you know what, people, if there weren't performers in here, absolutely nobody would be coming in. So at least a couple of bucks, even you know, just to have somebody on your stage.
Yeah, and around here, like it used to be that you get a drink or two for performing, and sometimes you still do, but you don't even get that at the open mics here most of the time. So they're making money off all these comics that are coming in, eating and having drinks or whatever, you know, because a lot of the comics feel obligated to patronize the place that's putting it on, even though we're not getting paid and stuff like that, which, you know, and like even bosses, when you win the monthly competition, it's a gift card to bosses. It's not even cash that you win. You win a gift card.
I wouldn't even enter bosses. That thing. I wouldn't even enter a competition like that. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Well,
I usually sell it for like half price to somebody for cash. That's what usually.
That's okay. You got your deals going out the back door.
Yeah,
but you're right about music. If you've got an acoustic guitar and you know 5 chords and you're not bad, you can get paid reasonably in bars, reasonably. Which that's the big difference of that first level. There's often you have to just grind in that bullshit for a while until you can earn anything at all.
All right, I heard you laugh, so you have sound.
We can hear Muttley. You want a medal, Muttley?
Sticking your finger in all our faces.
Now I'm scared to touch your mic settings, but you're a little bit trebly. I'm just gonna see if I could just adjust that just a little bit here.
Not without consent.
I think we got it.
Well, that's because I went to these. My mother, every time something touched, I don't know. I don't have the patience for it right now. I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning.
Why? Why do you get up so early?
Because I didn't finish doing something last night and I wanted to finish it this morning.
All right. Well, here's what I would suggest. Is there a hardware store near you anywhere? Go get a hammer and just crash it, beat the shit out of your equipment, and then that should fix the problem.
I have more hammers than there are churches in my county. I have a hammer for like every nail in every purpose in my tool shed here.
Well, there you go.
MC hammer.
Then you can fix the problem. I mean, just beat the shit out of everything you own, and everything should be fine. And you could even if all that doesn't work, you can use the hammer on yourself, and that should definitely fix up the problem.
Okay. Well, let me introduce myself properly then. Mine dog coffee. Mine dog coffee. I don't always get paid to do comedy, but when I do, they pay me in Mine dog coffee.
Oh, you poor guy.
That sucks.
Jesus.
My brother would tell you that they're poisoning you. But so the other part of this thing is a lot of the open mic nights you're performing for just other open micers. Like there are no
which I contend is no way to build your fucking stand-up routine, by the way, because comics notoriously have a different kind of sense of humor. And also, most of them, like, unless you're doing brand new shit all the time, which very few comics do, that means most of them have heard it before. So if it's not really, really funny, you're not gonna, like, how are you judging your material? Like you cannot get a proper barometer of your material if all you're telling it to is other fucking comics. Yeah. And then there's other reasons they won't laugh. Like and not just with me. I've seen it with other fucking comics as well. But I know that there's a handful of fucking, especially these fucking super fucking liberal motherfuckers. They will sit there tight-lipped, cross-armed for any fucking comic that has an adverse fucking opinion of them. Like that kind of shit happens all the time. So you might have 4 people in that room, not even, in a room of 12, not even willing to laugh for you, no matter how funny your shit might be. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
there's all sorts of reasons why doing a room that only has comics can be bad for you. Like
I just want to. I don't know if you guys covered this while I was having my technical difficulties, but the way I view open mics is like in theater, they have what's called the dress rehearsal. It's just so that it's you go through the play has been written. They know what they want to do, and the dress rehearsal is to make sure that the costumes work, the props work, everything that's supposed to make the show is working.
And you get your timing done, yeah.
Right. So that's how I view open mics as far as how it helps the mechanics of the individual comedian.
For sure.
Getting paid that's something different, but open mics, you need to practice. We need to practice, and we need to practice in front of real people. Well, most people do. I know I do for my timing, but I don't do it for my material. I do it for my timing.
Right. Now, there's a difference between being an open mic guy, going to open mics, and established comedians who will do 5 minutes just to test out some new material, but they don't get paid. Like, you can name anybody who goes like to the Comedy Store. I'm just going to stop in to do 5 minutes, but they're already established. That's not the same necessarily as going to an open mic because in that room you will have people who are there to see the show and see comedy, who are not comedians. So that part that I mentioned in the early part, there is a distinction to be made there. But you do get a few good nights though, that maybe not like more curated open mics, I guess, that get a good audience every week, and you know that it's a true audience and that they're going to laugh or not. They're a good comedy audience kind of thing. There's quite a few of those popping up, but there are still a lot of the other as well, where it's 6 comics, and none of them are listening because they're also writing their notes and trying to remember what they're going to say.
Or they're just fucking rude. They're just really, because some of them aren't literally. They're not taking notes. They're just sitting back there socializing with other comics. Now there are venues where I go.
I really hate that.
There are venues that I don't frequent them. Like I said, there are only 2 places there's only 2 places one place that I go to regularly to perform open mics. And that's the Tuesday night one in York with Ron Kane. We have a real audience, and actually, literally, I don't know why comedians don't show up. Ron Kane and I have been the only 2 comedians there regularly for like 3 months. We'll have like maybe a comedian who's in from out of town come in and drop in. So
I understand your confusion there, because I feel like if I put out my little PA system on my front lawn and put out a sign, open mic night, comedians welcome, I feel like I would get at least a couple.
Yeah, Yeah, and I don't get. Honestly, I don't get it. I mean, it's like, and I have pushed, I have plugged, I have called. Like even the other day, I had a friend of mine who's he's recording. Uh, he's recording a DVD this Friday, today.
That's today. Yeah,
Okay,
that's
right.
today.
He came in town on Wednesday. He did a 1 hour set headlining on Wednesday. I invited him to the mic that I do on Tuesday night. I say, look, if you need to run through your whole set, we'll let you run through your, as much time as you want, because I'm trying to get other comedians there. Now, true, that cuts into my time because, like I said, I do 30 minutes every week there. So, and for me to invite other comics to fill the time, it cuts in on my time. But I'd rather have that, have other comedians come in and spread the word. But they just don't fucking show up.
You do 30 minutes and host?
No, Ron hosts and he'll do 30 minutes. Ron will host and do 25 to 30 minutes, and then I'll
there's
do
only
30
two
minutes.
of them. I mean,
right?
Yeah.
And even then, they don't want to leave. So sometimes, I'll do 35, 40 minutes.
Okay, I want a quick opinion on that because that's happened to me a couple different times, and I never know how to feel about it. Where like the whole show happens, and it usually happens to me in Sioux City at this place called Marty's Tap. But the whole show will take place, the whole open mic will take place, and the bartender, who's been the same guy for like at least 3 or 4 years, he'll be like, "Oh, you didn't do this bit or you didn't do that bit. Can you go up again?" Like I'll literally get asked by the staff to go on stage again. But I feel like that's faux pas for me to even ask the guy who runs the show to let me have another run at it or whatever. But like it's the staff that's asking. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I would if you're being requested, I would tell the person who's requesting it to go ask the host to.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea because Nick
I have
probably hold more sway.
Yeah,
anyway.
just know we're all talking about you, Willie, when you go up twice as well.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
This guy,
like, dude, that's gotta like to like the other. But I don't get to that place very often. And I think that's kind of where that stems from is that like this venue might see me once or twice a year, maybe. And it was one of the venues that I frequented a lot when I was first starting back. And so like, I guess that's where it comes from or whatever. Because when I do my big shows in Sioux City, I don't do them at Marty's Tap anymore. I found a better venue called Whiskey Dicks that I do my shows at. It's a much bigger room. It's inside. I don't have to worry about, a bunch of other shit. But I love Marty's. It's a good little bar, and it's a, it's one of those. I
think it would soften that though if the host would say, "This guy's been up before, but he's been requested by the bartenders or the staff here to come back up." He's telling the audience that he didn't ask me. I think that would soften what Carlton said. We're all talking about you. I do.
Yeah, because I just don't know how to handle it because I would totally do it because it feels like it feels good. There's really not much of a better feeling than to be requested for an encore performance. You know what I mean? Like, that feels pretty good.
Right? By a barman.
Yeah. Just go up there and do 5 terrible minutes.
My brother has never been in show business in his life, but he speaks at AA meetings, and he will often do an hour. Like a new hour every time. And he sees
I've done speaking engagements like that.
He feels like he's doing stand up because he's doing it for laughs.
Some of them are. Some of them absolutely are. I've been to a lot of conventions. I've heard a lot of speakers. Some of those speakers could go toe to toe with some of today's comics. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah,
that's a thing.
Yeah, and
that's a real thing.
He gets that kind of reaction. So, but I wonder.
There is a recovery comedian that's really popular. His name is Mark Lundholm. He's probably been like the standard of recovery comedy for 20 years, I bet.
I'm just wondering how it would be for him if somebody actually asked him to go to because now he's used to doing hours with a crowd that knows him, is there to see him. Now you're going to go to a comedy club, or you challenge to do a comedy club where you get 5 minutes to do it in front of strangers. Whether he would have a nervous breakdown or be able to handle
it. Probably. Because we don't know how long we don't know how long he's talking before he gets his first laugh, and also when he's doing his thing, he's still in front of a friendly audience. You know, he can. They're not strangers. There's a shortcut that he can take. He could probably say like one word to them, which creates an entire world for them. But if you use that, he can't do that with strangers. So
I would say half the room is strangers each time. He goes to a lot of different meetings. Please, and those people are come and go transients, like the new people here. There's people who've never seen you, people who are from a different meeting sometimes.
But the language is still the same.
What Judy's talking about is recovery. Recovery has its own lingo, and so thereby, like, there's certain words that you can say, certain phrases that you can say or whatever, that automatically like gives you a kinship with everyone. Like if you say anything about sponsorship or anything like that, like pretty much anybody in a recovery setting is going to relate to a joke about your sponsor because they've all had a sponsor at one point or another. You know what I mean?
I'm not,
like, and I think
definitely
that's
not an expert in this because I've never been, I can't even imagine going to a 12-step program because, but from what I hear, and not just from him, there's a lot of fake. They're there at an AA meeting, but they're fucking high on meth or speed or coke or whatever.
Especially AA especially has people that are just not drinking and still doing a myriad of drugs.
Right.
But people working a program aren't going to be doing that, and that's kind of the difference.
Right. So you're doing a sober program tonight, and about a month ago, 6 weeks ago, Barry Katz challenged you to go get off the weed. I'm curious. Are you still holding on? To that?
No, I mean I've smoked a little here and there, but it's been nothing.
So it's a no.
Like
that's
right,
a no.
Yeah, like I'm not 100% sober.
It's a no. It's a no.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just curious. So tonight the dry thing, will you be a little stoned? Will you be a little high?
Oh no. Especially when I'm around recovery people, I hate being stoned around recovery people. It's a total fucking buzzkill. It's like the worst fucking buzzkill available. You know, to hang out with recovery people while you're fucked up. Yeah,
I'm the opposite. I can't stand being around them if I am completely sober. It drives me nuts because I have to listen to them, man. I can't space out, or I can't hide the fact that I'm spacing out. So,
and the funny thing is, I have a lot of friends who are in recovery, but because I do not drink when I'm performing, they think when they see me at the bar, and I'm like one of the only other comedians. There are two types of comedians, at these things. They're either drinking or not drinking. And when I'm not drinking, they assume that because I'm not drinking because I'm in recovery like them. It's like, no, I don't drink because I don't drink when I'm performing, period. I do, it's, stone cold sober.
Stone cold sober.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah. So, I mean, but what now, the last thing before we let this subject go, the guy, obviously this guy triggered a fucking ton of people, comedians.
Yeah, I saw quite a bit of back and forth.
Even people who have been doing it for 50 years, even the guy who was the Richard Pryor's one of his best friends and Richard Pryor's opening act for 7 years running was triggered by this. Why does it get so emotional about? I could see why. I posted it because I thought it was funny and I thought it was arrogant, but the anger and emotion that it drives to say something
because
like that.
Honestly, wait a minute. What was it that he said that's good? Because I don't know that he wants to get paid. That he
wants to get paid thousands. He wants to get. He said if Chris Rock and Dane Cook can get paid millions, I should get paid at least thousands. My friends tell me I'm a top totally 5 comic.
Now, did he like include a clip or anything so that people can see how great he
never
is?
Performed. He's never performed. He hasn't done it.
My friend.
Yeah, but you can still have a clip. You can have a clip of you being in your garage doing comedy You know what I'm saying? A sample. You don't.
I do have those. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I have tons of clips of me practicing in a room by myself without an audience just to get my logistics down.
He's got what he wanted. It was bait. He's either mentally ill, like a lot of comics, or he's just trolling. He just did it. This will be hilarious. Watch how many people get angry when I post this.
So why'd you do it, Carl?
I agree with. I understand that point, Carl. But usually those people don't sign their real name to it. This guy's has a real profile.
They do that. But people just professional trolls. Some people are just the whole thing is throwing stuff out there just to get all the hate back and get people angry. Yeah, and they're getting interaction on their site. But also, I mean, Mind Dog, do you remember that guy that used to send stuff into you? That guy who thought he was the most hilarious sketch.
Yeah.
Do you remember? I can't remember his name. The sketches are so bad that he was convinced he was going to be famous.
Yeah.
What was his name?
Fuck, you got me now.
They were great.
Yeah, I feel bad that I don't remember.
We all feel bad. We can't remember,
I got a question for you. Do you want to talk about football at all? We got the first week of playoffs this weekend.
If you have something to talk about in football,
Taylor Swift.
I did. I'm sure she'll be.
If I could just on that Taylor Swift thing. People are angry at Joe Coy for making a Taylor Swift joke that wasn't she wasn't the butt of the joke, but they're acting like she was. She's included in the joke. She said he was making a joke really. At NFL coverage.
If anything, the NFL was
right. He was making fun of the NFL and how they're obsessed with her.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that all day. Like his joke wasn't even towards Taylor Swift; it was towards the NFL's. Like, I would agree with that all day, Matt. That's a great fucking. I'm glad you brought that up.
Well, it's just weird that
it's definitely all over him. The NFL camera crew.
Yeah, they're jumping all over him. First of all, you gotta understand.
They're just gonna do that no matter what from now on.
Right. Even if you're Ricky Gervais.
Right. And he only had like 10 days notice. He knew 10 days before the show that he was doing it. That's hard as well.
Yeah.
Like short notice like that. All right. Anyway, so the Steelers will be taking on the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I mean,
you're delayed.
Is Will delayed? Because he's like you're like over.
He's not listening. He's just talking.
Probably.
Yeah,
guys,
I don't know.
I'm going to listen, but I need to bail because I need
How
to.
am I supposed to know when I'm delayed and when I'm not?
All right, Carl. Enjoy your thing with your Dyken man today. Last rights.
That's next Friday. That's next Friday.
Oh, I thought it was today.
So did I when you said, but it's next Friday.
All right. Well, have a good day anyway. How about that?
Take care, Carl, man. Carl, man.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
Where is the delay at? Like, and how far behind am I?
It seemed like you're just not listening when anybody else talks. You're just talking over them. So it's hard to say how far you're delayed.
So, Matt, you just say 1, 2, 3, and then we all raise our hands.
1, 2, 3. You're at like 8 seconds delayed.
8 seconds?
No, it's
either that or your reflexes are incredibly slow.
No, it's not. My reflexes are incredibly slow. God, that sucks. Okay,
all right.
So
wait, before you do that, I just wanted to finish that thought on Joe Coy and just the hosting an awards program. First of all, it's not a stand-up comedy thing. They want you to be funny, but it's not a stand-up comedy audience. You got a bunch of stuck-up people who are just concerned with
about whether or not if
they win or how to handle it if they don't win. All those kind of thoughts. Their ego. They're concentrating on self. The whole room is full of people concentrating on self or the person you're there to support. You know, their entourage is there to support them. You got all that, and you get somebody who is even the top comedians is going back. And again, I don't watch award shows, but going back to the 70s when these things started blowing up, Johnny Carson would take heat for it. David Letterman got lambasted for the way he hosted the Oscars. Ricky Gervais, when he did the Golden Globes a few years ago, everybody who does that is going to get a new asshole ripped for them, no matter what they say. It's a no-win thing. You do it for the paycheck and possibly do it for the controversy as it can help. The negative publicity is always a help, but you can't take the criticism seriously.
Did they ever get mad at Billy Crystal?
That's a good question. I'm sure somebody did.
But I don't. Well, somebody probably, but Billy Crystal. But wasn't he? He was like he did it like 12 years in a row or something. One of the award shows.
Yeah, he did it for a long time.
It was a long time. It was like
thing.
Yeah, it was like he had to stop. It's like please stop. But it's also hard to be
give
mad
somebody
at
else
Billy
a
Crystal.
chance. Yeah,
because Billy Crystal, the way he did it, he how should I put it? He was funny without the offense for the most part.
He was.
The most controversial thing I can remember him ever saying was it was the year that Barbra Streisand, the movie she did, I can't remember which movie it was.
Yentl
got like every award under the sun, but was not nominated for Best Director.
Right.
And he said, "So what happened? Yentl directed itself." And that's the most controversial thing I can remember Billy Crystal saying, and even that got a laugh.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Well, unless you're Barbra Streisand, then it's not funny. It's kind of like, oh yeah, it reminded me what I'm angry about. Not angry at Billy Crystal, but
that's why I think that's when Chris Christopherson went up and slapped him and said, "You keep our name out of your mouth. Don't you talk about Babs like that."
All right, now Willie, you want to do football? Buffalo Bills are. I thought they were eliminated.
Yeah. No, it's the Steelers versus the Bills. This is the playoff picture. So the Steelers will be taking on the Bills. The Steelers are favored by 10 points, according to USA Today. By the way, that's where the spreads are from. Miami versus the Chiefs.
Wait a minute, you can't just brush over that one. That's a pretty intense rivalry. Now, Steelers against the Bills, they're same division. They're like within like an hour drive or 2 hours drive of each other.
Well, they're not the same conference. They're not the same division.
Yeah, they're in the same conference, not the same division.
Right.
Well, I think things have changed since I follow football. But the point is, it's been a pretty heated rivalry over the years, right? And so the I could have sworn somebody said like last week that the Bills had been eliminated, but that's the fan interest in that game is going to be pretty high. I mean, a lot of Steelers fans, people in this area who are not Giants and Jets fans. A lot of them are still Steelers fans. I know Mikey is a big time Steelers fan. So there's that part of that one. So that should be an interesting game to watch. Do you have times on these?
It should.
That's a Saturday game.
I'm surprised that the Steelers are getting 10 points. I believe so. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Now you move on.
I think they're having games all the way to Monday. Okay. Wow. So Miami and the Chiefs. It'll be at the Chiefs, and Miami is getting 4.5 points. I think that's going to be the Chiefs all day still, honestly.
And there's no rivalry there. I mean, no heated.
No, not really to speak of.
Well, I think the rivalry is going to be that the Chiefs. The Chiefs have Taylor Swift, and Miami just has like every other hot girl on the beach.
That I forgot about the Swift element in this. She is definitely gonna. Again, I don't know why the NFL. Listen, I get that they like to show celebrities, but I think they go over the top with her.
Well, I think they're trying to attract another fan base, like Swiftie people.
I agree.
Just who saying, see, look. But
yep,
I think them showing Taylor Swift is the equivalent of them unfurling a 90-foot by 50-foot flag in the middle of the field.
Now, let's hold on just 1 second here, because you said the Steelers are 10 points on that game, or no? Steelers are getting 10 points.
The Steelers are getting 10 points.
Okay, because I'm looking at the rankings by Vegas for Super Bowl matchups, and the Bills are first in that. Bills versus Rams is the odds-on favorite according to Vegas for the Super Bowl at this point.
Wow,
interesting.
Yeah. So, all right, now I'm sorry to interrupt, but where were we? Miami and Kansas City, right?
The
but
Ravens
didn't the Ravens just spank? Didn't the Ravens just spank the Bills last week? Was that 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, the Ravens are on a bye week.
Yeah, but didn't they spank the Bills?
I'm surprised they're picking the Bills.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't follow that. But there is something to consider in the last week, because I remember when the Giants beat the Patriots. They beat the Patriots the last week, and then went on to beat them in the Super Bowl. But everybody said, well, it's the last week, and they were going for a perfect season. But they said there was a let-up in the last week. They're not playing as hard because they know they have the playoffs already set. And so, there's that. So the Bills might have had
that happens a lot.
Yeah, let's prepare for the playoffs and not play that hard.
I mean, some teams don't even play their starters in the last week if they've already clinched their playoff berth and stuff like that. So
I wouldn't read too much into the Ravens spanking them the last week.
Yeah, no, but usually I'm just thinking, because there's that, and also sometimes some teams play harder, or trying to pick their opponent in the next round, knowing that if they win, they'll have to face so and so, but if they lose, they can face another team.
Right.
Right.
That's true too.
But that's also illegal, isn't it? Because that's Vegas hates that shit, don't they?
Yeah, no, it's interesting, especially now with the legalized gambling and everything like that. It does
save that for the end of this, because I want to talk about all the gambling stuff and the conspiracy theories that are going around.
Right. Okay. So then we have the Browns will be playing the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans are getting 2.5 points at home, which I thought, was very interesting that the home team is actually getting points.
All right.
Okay. First of all, they don't like being called Browns. They like being called Hispanics, Latinos.
God,
they don't like being called the Browns. Iranians, that's fine, but don't call them the Browns. That's racist. Wow. That's so racist.
Well, okay. But neither one of those teams are even in the top 10 of the.
I mean, it's a nothing game. It's not gonna matter in the end. Okay, so we'll move on to the NFC.
But one of them has to advance. So that's one of them is bound to advance.
Yeah, one of those teams will advance. Yes.
Wait a minute, you mean it can't wind up in a tie? Like who's the quarterback from Philadelphia thought the game would end in a tie? Damn it.
McNabb?
I don't remember.
I think it might have been McNabb. Who thought the game could end in a tie? I was like,
in the regular season it can, but not during playoffs.
Well, he probably never had been there.
Right. And he probably wasn't used to how things are in the playoffs.
Right.
All right. Anyway, so Green Bay versus Dallas. Dallas is minus 7.5 points. I mean, I'm going for Dallas all day because I hate the Packers. So,
okay. Now, Green Bay. Green Bay isn't in the Vegas top 10 Super Bowl matchups. Cowboys are twice. They're at in the fourth place. Cowboys versus Steelers is the fourth highest ranking on. They're in there 3 times. Cowboys versus Ravens all the way at number 9. Cowboys versus Dolphins at 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. Moving on.
So, LA Rams and the Detroit Lions. The Lions are -3 on that game. So the Rams are getting 3. The Lions are -3. It is at Detroit.
Have the Lions ever won a Super Bowl?
The Super Bowl? I don't think so. I'm not.
They may have won an NFC championship back before they were
Barry Sanders days or something?
Oh
maybe?
no. Sanders
Yeah,
never.
maybe back in the, but I don't even think so then.
Yeah. So they are included in the
But
Vegas Chiefs versus Lions is the third highest bet in Vegas right now
really,
for the Super
that's
Bowl. Yeah.
interesting. I
But
mean, I'll be
do
honest
they
with
have a
you.
realistic chance in your? The
I
Lions
mean,
have a realistic.
I don't really know. I didn't really follow them that closely, but I will say this: I would love, as much as I hate the Packers, like I cannot stand the fucking Packers. I would love to see the Lions win it, especially since, you know, it wasn't, to me, it wasn't all that long ago that they had the 0-16 season. And so, like, for them to come all the way back and finally have a championship, that would be pretty cool, I think.
I would like
And
that,
it would still
even
be
though
the
I don't
NFC
follow it.
North winning it all, and I can tolerate that.
Yeah,
that's how I feel about that.
I would like to see that, just because nobody expects it, and you know what, I'm a big underdog guy. I love seeing people who don't have any chance. People just count it out. I like to see them win.
Right.
Okay,
That's
just to answer your question, Detroit Lions have won 4 NFL championships, but that was pre-Super Bowl.
Like
Pre-Super Bowl,
1950,
okay.
1952, something like that.
57, stuff like that.
Yeah.
The last time was 57.
Damn.
Appreciate that.
Now and it seems like look, according to Bing, I didn't type in Bing. Bing just took over as soon as I asked the question. I don't even like that shit. I can't stand that shit. I was using Google Chrome. I typed in a question and Bing says, "Here I am. Let me answer that for you." So, according to Bing, and I'm just saying this, if the information is wrong, it's not me, it's Bing. So according to Bing, the Detroit Lions' last postseason participation was like 1991 or something.
I mean, it's been a hot minute since they've been in the fucking playoffs.
Yeah.
They've been the garbage fucking team of the NFC North for a long fucking time. All right,
but they have 4 NFL championships.
Right. Yeah. Is that all of them?
No, there's one more game. The Eagles versus the Bucks, and once again, the Bucks are getting points as the home team. They are getting 3 points, which I think is just crazy. The home teams are getting points.
Well, obviously the Bucks.
Then San Francisco's on their bye.
Yeah, Bucks aren't even considered by Vegas to have a chance to be in the Super Bowl at all. They're not even in the top 20 of the potential matchup that people are betting on. So, so now coming back to what you were talking about with the illegal gambling. Well, not illegal online gambling.
Right.
You guys know my father was a bookie, and he was always paranoid that the refs were, and they were, because we had and this is old enough statute of limitation stuff, that there were refs betting with my father on games that way. So he knew that there was some ref influence. The refs weren't betting on games that they were refereeing, but they talked to each other, and it seemed like whenever there was a questionable call, everybody would get on this conspiracy thing. The refs are fixing games now. Online betting has increased the number of people who are at least known gamblers, because you can't measure it against illegal gambling because those people didn't come out and say, bookies didn't report.
Right.
But they say since the pandemic, it's up like 5,000% or some crazy number like that, gambling on the game, and the number of questionable calls is going up considerably. And so there's a lot of conspiracy that the NFL is totally fixed. Everybody, the games the refs are betting online on games that they are officiating and all that kind of stuff. So it's
I mean, even if they're not doing it directly, it's way too easy for them to have somebody putting in bets for them on games that they can affect the outcome on.
Right,
for sure.
Do you buy into that? Like, do you think?
Oh, I think that I think that you'd be seriously naive to think that it's not happening. It's definitely happening. Like,
but,
and it may not be happening across the board.
The betting, I think that's a given that they're betting. I'm just saying, like, some of the obvious calls where.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I mean. And I mean, I definitely think that there's refs that are like making some of their decisions based on what the line is, 100%. Now, I don't think that all the refs are doing that, like across the board, but I mean, there's definitely more than a few. And I mean, there was a whole ref crew that's not allowed to partake in the playoffs because they had a call that was that bad on the like final week that that whole referee crew is not allowed to do any of the playoff games. The NFL said no.
Here's the thing that, as with most conspiracy theories, I would think, how do I put this? The ability to get caught on a really obvious play would be, it seems pretty easy to say that, you know what, that was like a ridiculous call. Let's take this guy aside, have like the FBI come in and not the FBI, but serious interrogators. Drag him off the field. Let's talk about that.
But also,
in obvious cases, they should have something in place.
Now there was a season, I think it was 2015, 2016 season, I think, where Detroit Lions were like 0-96. I think they were like they lost like every game. They were losing games they weren't even playing. They were losing games they weren't even playing.
They lost to the Mets.
Yeah, they lost to like they were right. You remember that season then? Yeah. So this is one of the games where they were actually playing against the New York Knicks, and Ed Hockley made a call against what's his name, Megatron. Sorry, and Megatron, I can't remember his real name now. I've been calling him Megatron for so long. But if you look at the play,
Don Johnson.
I thought wasn't that the guy that starred in Miami Vice?
No, that's Don Johnson.
No. See, we have to agree to disagree. But so Megatron catches the ball. He had enough time to get both feet in, wave hi to the audience, eat a hot dog before he stepped out of bounds. And Ed Hockley said it was incomplete. Okay, and to be honest, if it weren't that it was because Ed Hockley was like the man back then, you know. But I'm just saying he got away with it. Now, had that been a female official, I don't think she could have gotten away with that same call.
All right. You know? Now, the other part of the getting caught thing is monitoring the finances of these guys, because it's like, you know, the mafia don't spend extravagantly. These referees get paid. I don't know what they get paid, but I think they get paid enough that they're risking their career for sure. They're like one time fixing a game and you're out forever. Your career is over. So the risk about that and how you get caught, I don't know. That's the part that makes me skeptical that anybody would take that chance. Like the bet would have to pay off so much that it would cover you if you lost your entire career. And I don't know if there's any potential jail time. I would assume there would be potential jail time for something like that.
Now, most of these NFL referees are have really good jobs on their own. Like they're like brokers and lawyers and shit like that. You know, so it's hard for me to imagine that you would risk all of that, a lot of stuff for unless it's like you said, a huge fucking payday.
Right. Yeah, and that's what makes me skeptical of all the, well, that was a bad call. The ref must be fixing this game. And if we go down that rabbit hole, especially if you got money on the game, you're going to say that about every call you don't like. The ref is.
Yeah. In other words, Trump. You're going to Trump. You're going to cry like Trump on every call that doesn't go your way.
Right. So I don't know how much I weigh into it, but it seems like those conspiracy theories, and listen, I'm talking 50 years ago now, watching my father every week go through that. I think it's been amplified by thousands of times now with the calls of refs are cheating, refs are in on it. But again, if you see a referee who is, let's just say he's got $1 million home, and he makes a obviously controversial call, and 3 weeks later, I don't know, he's got a brand new Ferrari and whatever, brand new 50-foot yacht or whatever. It's easy to say there's some connection here. Where'd you get that money? Follow the money.
Yeah. If his wife didn't go missing and he got the yacht after a big game, you're going to be suspicious.
Yeah. Now, to hide that and how long you sit on that before you really have the balls to spend it.
Yeah. It's fun. My father wasn't a bookie. My father
I don't spend money from a heist until Robert De Niro tells me I can.
My father was a numbers runner, and so the numbers was based on horse races, which is why my father liked them, because horses can't cheat. They don't take a dive. And jockeys are all honest, so you can trust the jockeys, right? They would never throw a race, so that's why my father was like a numbers runner.
I mean,
I think
by that, wouldn't you think dog races would be better than? Do they still have those? Are those even legal anymore?
Oh no, you can't do that no, take it back. They still have dog races, right? But they what it is, you in Florida, you still have the dog races. They just don't use real rabbits anymore. They just
they use electronic rabbit. But the horse racing stuff was definitely Roosevelt Field, which was on Long Island next to Belmont, or a couple of miles from Belmont, was the Trotters, and the Trotters were notorious for fixing horse races back when my father was doing book all the time. And basically I made personally, even as a teenager, I made extra money just based on what my father gave me, which was an absolute lock where stuff was in the bag. So yeah, and they're big doping stuff, and lots of jockeys were in with gamblers all the time. We had major league athletes too, who were consistently. Yeah.
When you're that small though, these jockeys that threw races and stuff, when you're that small, do you know how hard it is to get a woman to suck your dick otherwise? I mean, you gotta do something.
Yeah, absolutely. But so all of the, there was lots of cheating going on. I think it was easier in the day. Back in the day, there were less
eyes around.
Yeah, less eyes. It wasn't everywhere. Everything wasn't televised. All that kind of crap.
Right.
A lot of the horse racing stuff, people only knew if they were at the track. Let's face it, a lot of it you were listening on the radio for horse racing results. NBC radio, I remember every race, they would cut into the programming. They'd be playing oldies music or pop or whatever they played in that day on WNBC AM, and then every race they would break in just for the call of the race. It wasn't televised. So
but that was for the benefit of numbers runners. No, not the numbers runners, but the people who were playing,
Yeah, both numbers runners and their customers. Yeah, absolutely, that shit was going on. So I'm just interested. Let's do a quick commercial. And do you want to do a critical joke theory today? I want to play the Vinny thing. It's a really short promo, and
I didn't finish it. I have the script. I just didn't finish recording it last night.
Live. Yeah. That is called the masturbation, power masturbation cup from Tracy's dog. It seems to me suited for a guy with a very fat but short dick. I don't know. That's what it looks like. I don't know. But it certainly looks like if you had a big long one, you just fit the tip in. Just put the tip in. But it's available at Tracy's Dog. The link is in the description. The link is also going across the thing there. It's in the comments if you're on YouTube or Facebook. Click the link and buy now. Support our new sponsors, Tracy Dog. Tracy Dog.
Now, does it play that music while you're using it, or is it do you get
I like
to
that
select the
music
music
a little bit.
Yeah, but to work your stuff too. I mean, don't you? I'm just wondering, can you choose a different song? Is what I'm asking.
I don't think you probably can. I'm certain that you could just like put on your headphones and play whatever you want. I'm not the kind of guy who ever has music going on during sex or any of that stuff. I
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, now,
I don't need any distractions.
It's funny because I had a routine.
Listen. Fucking to the beat is an art, bro.
I used to have a routine,
like 100%.
as to say that I don't use music for. I don't have a mood. I don't use music for the mood anymore. That I'm at the age where I just use old war movies.
Old war movies.
Yeah. Because that's pretty much, it's because it's, first of all, in almost every old war movie, there's a scene where the guy goes, "I don't know if I'll make it back." So,
well, either that or you could use Phil Rizzuto's baseball calls.
That's exactly the moment you come in. You're holding up. You edge yourself. Until you hear that phrase, and you're like, ah, yeah.
Stop right there.
Dun, 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 dun,
dun. I gotta know right now.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to mention was Vinny. We didn't play this very smoothly yesterday. So Vinny has a show tomorrow night on vinnycomedy.com. It's the Proud to Be Italian thing. It's only 41 seconds. Let me play that trailer cleanly for our friend Vinny, who was the guest.
In terms of sign language, how could you possibly express to someone that you're upset as an Italian?
Something like that.
I'm happy you didn't do the other gesture. Just show me with your hands that you're upset.
Mi stai sui coglioni, like I really don't like you right now.
I'm in trouble, basically.
Yeah, that's it.
If you're really upset, what do you do with your hands? Show me that you're really, really angry, but don't say anything. Oh, yeah.
The little,
when you get one of these, just run the opposite direction.
You better run.
Yeah.
Little.
That's the way we do things. It's called Italian Sign Language. That's how we talk.
And Proud to Be Italian airs tomorrow night, 8:30 Eastern, on vinnycomedy.com and Vinny. Yeah, and this. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, a lot of the Italian a lot of those hand gestures were used. I mean, I used to use a lot of them when I was a kid. I don't even know where I learned them from, but I did. I knew those gestures. Nice to use them. I don't know if I don't. That's really weird. I don't remember seeing them on television.
And you don't really look that Italian, but you never know. You're from Southern Italy.
I've had Southern. I've had the my wife got me the DNA test, the ancestry.com DNA test.
Wow.
So, but it's funny because before that, I was trying to do it online, use it, ancestry.com. And once I got to a certain point, once it got to the when I got out of the black people phase and went into the slave master phase, it would just go error 404, site under reconstruction, because it just like
turns out you're a descendant of Thomas Jefferson. Just like every other black person in America, Thomas Jefferson's dick got around a lot of it. I think every female slave that Thomas Jefferson owned got knocked up by Thomas Jefferson.
Well, it's the weirdest thing. I had looked like, because I was using the census to go back, And at one point, it stopped saying Fenderson, but 10 years prior, if you look at it, it said Tenderson with a T. And I don't know if it's a typo, because you know how it worked at Ellis Island. You know, you have one name, and then all of a sudden on a document, your name is changed, and no one's.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't know if Fenderson got, if there's like if there's some kind of, because if you look at the number of slaves and the ages, it went, it's like a 10-year, everything else, synced up.
Right.
But it just said Tenderson instead of Fenderson.
Right. Now, on the Italian, on the Jordan Peterson scale, on the Italian stuff, we were talking about this yesterday, but I didn't bring up that Malta is you're Maltese, but I have lots of
like the Falcon.
Yeah, I have lots of friends who consider themselves Italian. They're from the island of Malta, and the Greek part of heritage of the people who call themselves Italian. People like me almost certainly have some. I haven't done the ancestry thing or the DNA. What is that? 123 and me or something. I haven't done any of that. But almost everybody with my skin complexion, I think, who calls themselves Italian, probably has some lineage back to Greece. I think because the Greece colonized what was Italy, so or Italia,
right?
At the time. So all that, what really is Italian? That's really confusing. I'm really surprised that you can get a show of 300 Italians up in, what did he say? Not Calgary, somewhere up there in north. Yeah, go figure. Anyway, Dylan Times is expected in a few minutes. Do you want to check on him, Will, or can you check on him?
Yeah, sure, I can check on him, no problem.
Here's the thing with comedians. Again, and this is I'm beating a dead horse here. If we have a dead horse, I would like to. If you got a dead horse, bring him by. I'll give him a good beating. The fucking comedians are like the stupidest people in the world. People just go to the booking site. I should bring up the page to see, so the audience can see just how clear the instructions are. I don't think I'm putting out like really bad instructions there. But
look, I found it. The way I see it, if I could find it, follow instructions, then anybody else should be able to.
I say, the times are 9:15 a.m. and 10:15 a.m. Monday through Friday, and I get 1 o'clock on a Saturday. I don't do shows 1 o'clock on a Saturday. Well, how about 3 o'clock on a Wednesday? I don't know. I put in, follow the instructions on the page. It clearly states the time. It's mind-boggling how many of those I get where people just, I don't know. You expect comedians to be smarter than the average bear, but maybe they just don't bother.
But they're not smarter, but they are needier. I think they just need the attention. It's like, please, pay more attention to me. I'll fuck up, and you can pay more attention to me. Because, like I said, I've produced shows. And I find the only person I know that's more frustrated by comedians is my wife, and she deals with comedians less than I do. But she's like twice as frustrated by them. Like I'll produce a show, and you'll say and promote it, and they won't even promote a show that they're on.
Dude, that drives me crazy, bro.
All the time.
Yeah.
And that includes this show, by the way. They will come on here, and then like 3 weeks later, they'll ask me if it's been or even longer than that. Sometimes, is that show up yet? It's like, first of all, it was live.
It was live.
Yeah. And like the fact that you don't know that and don't know that it's up means you actually could not have shared the link to anybody or promoted it in any way. But they want to show their wife or their kid or whatever. And so, but that drives me crazy as well. Like, if you're gonna come on, at least let people know you're on and be excited about it enough to share it with people. The other part is they want to have these long conversations. I put out this form to try to make my life easier, and then they just want to have these long conversations. Well, what about this date? What about that date? I don't want to have to go back and check the calendar to see if that date's open. That's why I put the calendar online so you can see what dates are open and pick an open date, not keep coming back to me and saying, well, what about Thursday the 12th? Or what about Friday the 15th? Or whatever. And I mean, come on, man. It's really frustrating. So I'm just
I will say that I was talking to Dennis because Dennis can't do the morning thing. How booked up are you for your Wednesday nights? Are you still doing Wednesday night or not anymore?
I want to get rid of Wednesday nights, but I'm pretty booked up until the end of March already. I just want to end the Wednesday nights are just I don't know why, but for some reason, maybe it's because they're booking so far in advance. Those are where I get the no-shows more so. The Wednesday night, I had one this week. A reputable doctor who booked 4 months ago confirmed just the Sunday before and then didn't show up Wednesday night. And when I sent them emails saying about not showing up Wednesday night, I got no response. Like, he's just blowing me off now. Knows he made a mistake and no explanation. No, sorry, I fucked up. Anyway, what's the weather like in South Dakota, Willie?
Bro, it's snowed. It's gonna be snowing again. I might need a snowmobile to get to my show tonight.
Really? See, that's I feel bad for people who in wintertime they book shows. You can't predict stuff like this. In New York, I can tell you, if we had a foot of snow, that would mean every place would naturally cancel, like, because you wouldn't want to put people through trying to come out for that. And why waste our time putting on a show for nobody and waste all the talent's time and all that stuff? So it almost always cancels. But the predictability of booking a show in winter is part of the vocational hazard. And you book a show, and then the weather gets in your way. It's like there's no coverage of that. That's a lost payday. And you can get a lot of them depending on how severe the winter is. So that's a part of a vocational, the part of the risk you take. People don't understand that when they're talking about, people who are not stars, who are trying to make a living out there, and you just lost 2 paychecks on a weekend because of a snowstorm.
Yeah, sometimes though, like my wife will say, "Do you think they're going to show up? It's raining." I said, because it's just comedy, It's raining. It's like I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I will say that I'm definitely nervous with all this snow, but where the show is at is actually literally just down the road from 2 recovery meeting places. So I'm hoping that, and that's why we actually started the show at 9:30, is that I'm hoping that anybody going to those meetings will come to the show.
Sober people are like mailman, through rain, through sleet, through snow.
That is true. Yeah. That is definitely true.
Now
because their idea, their thinking behind it is, well, if I was still in the throes of my addiction, I definitely would have went out in this shit to get high. So I better get out in this shit to get my recovery too. Is the general thinking.
I guess the dealers stay open even in a blizzard, but it's hard to get to them. But if you're determined enough, I guess.
Yeah, you got to get to them. You got to go to them for sure. Your dealer's not coming out in this shit and be like, well, if you can get here.
About a week ago, I was talking about last weekend when we had weather. I was talking about meteorologists making up names, and here's a name I only heard about probably in the last 5, maybe 10 years at the most. Bombogenesis. Are you familiar with the term?
Yes. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I have.
Bombogenesis. It's fucking scary just in the name. First of all, it's got bomb and it's got Genesis, which is biblical. It sounds fucking scary as shit. Bombogenesis is a term used by meteorologists. Occurs when a mid-latitude storm intensifies. The intensification is represented by a drop in millibars and measurement of pressure used in meteorology. I never heard the term before, like 5 or 6 years ago. Or it's also called a bomb cyclone.
Right. Yeah. Cyclogenesis. Yeah.
But so just, I think they just got bored. I mean, I think like nature isn't inventing new storms. Meteorologists are just coming up with new ways to describe the storms to scare them.
You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking that maybe they've always talked like this behind closed doors, and they didn't think that we were smart enough to deal with it. It's like El Nino. El Nino has always been around.
Yeah, right.
And La Nina, and then all of a sudden it's like 1 year they're like, something. Maybe we can let them in on this little secret. Let's see how let's try and see if they can grasp El Nino.
Mid-'80s they first started coming up. Right around the time of Macarena. I think there's
yeah. It's like they handled Macarena. Now let's see how they do El Nino. Now we did El Nino. They did okay with that. Now let's do La Nina. Okay, they handled that. Now let's do bomb cyclone.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think they probably always talk like this behind closed doors, and they're just letting us in on the little secret.
Yeah. Well,
except for naming hurricanes after men. That's something I don't even think they did that behind closed doors.
I'm gonna quick check my email, see if Dylan has tried to contact me. I'm not really surprised by this because it took like 5 attempts for him to get the day and time right. So I'm not surprised that he's not here. He might be a time zone thing.
I think it's my fault, Matt. I didn't even research Dylan times. I didn't even have time. I didn't care.
Yeah, I don't.
You wouldn't have gotten anything.
I've been trying to call him.
I think his feelings were hurt.
He's probably sleeping. Is what I'm gonna say. Is my guess. Because I've literally called him twice on Messenger, and he has not looked at any of these messages.
Yeah. But so I'm not surprised that he's not here. But if in terms of research, I don't think you would have got anything other than his name and that he's from Sioux Falls, because that's all I could get. I mean, I tried to find out something about him. No, I found his Facebook page. I could share that to people.
Well, he's also
he doesn't show up.
He's also on the comic. He's also on the Funniest Person of the Year show with me on Saturday as well. So he is a Larry Brinkman Award winner also.
It's probably like I have friends who I've given the information to be booked on the show to them, and even though they're friends and they may have shows coming up, I said, look, if you want to get on the show and promote it, come and do it. I'm not going to do it for you. I'm not going to say, I have a friend who's doing the show. No. You can't. If you can't promote yourself, fuck you.
Yeah,
I promote a lot of my friends. I do. I promote people I don't even know if I like their stuff enough.
I will too, but it's within reason. I'm not.
It's a little confusing because we were just talking yesterday, and he seemed excited to be on and stuff like that. So, it's disheartening.
I get that all the time. Everybody is excited.
He's just overslept or something, but still.
Every single no show was excited to get on the day before or a couple of days before. My Wednesday night program confirmed. Sunday said looking forward to it, and that was the last I heard of him. So it's mind-boggling. I would never. Here's somebody who's the time they requested, the date time they requested. First of all, they didn't give me any time. They just said January 23rd to 25th. This is what I want to avoid. You give me a date that you see is open. Don't make me go back and forth. Oh, the 23rd? No, that's no good.
I have a question for Kelly. Kelly just wrote. I'm not just wrote. She wrote a little while ago where we're talking about songs to make love to. And she goes, I have the perfect song choice, but she doesn't say what it is. I didn't know she was waiting for us to ask her.
Of course she's waiting for us to ask her. She probably means
Kelly, what is it?
She probably means Love Song by the Rockin' 45s. That's probably what she means.
Oh, okay. Then never mind. We already know, Kelly.
No, nobody actually listens to that song while they're making love. They do it while they're laughing at me, or when they're doing peeping toms and laughing at people through their windows.
Now, did either of you have parents that sang you like lullabies or love when you were a kid to lull you to sleep?
No, not when I was a kid.
She waited till you were an adult to do it.
There are songs I used to use to fall asleep to. Bare Naked Ladies, When You Dream, was one of those. That would definitely hypnotize me into a quick sleep. I'm an insomniac anyway, so I have a difficult time.
I used to fall asleep to Metallica's Master of Puppets. That's in Sanitarium. Basically, the Master of Puppets album. I would come home from school and I would just blast that next to my head and take a little nap.
She says, "Get Up to Getting Down" is her I guess getting up. Now I don't know her situation, but I would think her boyfriend would be a little oh, you listen to the guy you fucking got a crush on online while we're fucking? I don't know. I wouldn't be happy.
It wouldn't bother me. But it's like who's this right here? Who's here right now?
Yeah. I don't know. Who is there right now?
I don't get insecure about that kind of thing or whatever. You know what
I mean? Who's waiting at the door with $20 in their hands?
I have a friend of mine. I was to tease him a lot because there was this one woman I was seeing, and he was married. No, he was living with someone, so he couldn't get involved with her, and they both liked each other, but they wouldn't act on it, and I wound up dating her. And so I used to tease him because you could see how he wanted her every time he saw her. You could just you could see it, and we would go out and I'd be with her, and he'd be like staring at her, and I'd say to him, I'm not going to say his name here, but give me a fake name to use. I would say, okay, Willie. I would say, Willie. I said, every time I'm in bed with her, she just hollers your name. She calls me your name. And I just want you to know I appreciate it. I said, I appreciate it.
That's high level trolling right there, GD. That's fucking beautiful.
Are you guys
just torment the motherfucker?
Did you guys hear about the Gary Busey thing? Somebody caught Gary Busey now on the street, dropping full trout just to take a piss on the street. Like dropped his trout.
I mean, Gary Busey's crazy as shit. This and I mean, he hangs out in fucking North Hollywood. This should not fucking surprise anyone.
No, okay? It doesn't surprise me. But dropping anybody, not that he's taking a piss on the street, but dropping his trousers all the way down to his ankles to take a piss.
I've seen men do that in urinals. I've seen men do that in men's rooms in urinals.
There's a 7-minute short film that I'm in called Men's Room,
right?
Which is basically
I tried to find that. I couldn't find it.
You couldn't find it? Oh yeah, that's right. Because you were going to try and highlight it for your show. Yeah. I'll have to ask Daniel about that because Daniel Bergenson was the director of that. There's got to be somewhere to get it.
I might have it. If you guys keep talking, I'll look for it.
There is another movie. There's another. There is another short film called Men's Room, but that's not the one that Willie's in.
Different. No, I have a link to that. Yeah, that's different.
Yeah, Willie sent me his link to that. Maybe
but I think so. That was on like like not Venmo, but like that Vizio or whatever that is, and I don't think that's
Vimeo anymore. Vimeo. I used to have stuff on Vimeo.
Vimeo, yeah. So and I think that's the problem is that the link I had was a Vimeo account, and that's not running anymore, I guess.
But you guys keep talking.
It's basically every faux pas that happens in a men's restroom. And I'm extremely proud of my part in there, honestly. Although it did require me to eat in the bathroom. What?
Every faux pas? I'm gonna tell you what I used to.
A lot of them. I'm gonna tell you. Nobody touched each other.
I used to work at a company it rhymes with DirecTV, and whenever we got a new, that was my PP. I used to work for them, and whenever we got like new technicians, when they went into the men's room, I would go in right behind them, and they had 2 stalls, and I would stand right behind them when they used one. No matter which one they used, I would stand behind them, and wait, and they go like, you can use that stall and say, no, I like this. This is my favorite stall. Wait. And I would stand like 2 feet behind them, like I'm in line. And every time, and the other technicians knew what I was doing because I did it to them. So they all knew what happened. They would wait outside for the other technician to come out the bathroom and go like, what the fuck's wrong with him? He ain't right. Got a favorite stall. What the fuck's wrong with him? And so I used to do that to every new guy when they got to the men's room. So is that in your movie? Is that in your movie? Standing in line behind
there is
someone
a guy
at the urinal?
waiting for another guy to finish. I mean, that's definitely, there is some waiting involved. But it's mainly because go ahead.
No, I was just going to say one thing that I'm certain is not in the movie that is a bathroom faux pas, men's room faux pas. One time, Davey Dew, who was the photographer, and I were on the way to a Rockin' 45's gig. We stopped at the diner. We ate dinner. We were done eating, but went into the men's room to take a piss and saw the chef in there, and he was just taking a shit. And he walked out without washing his hands, and then both of us were like fucking sick to our stomach. We were ready to throw up just seeing the guy who had just taken a shit not wash his hands, go back into the kitchen.
Maybe he washes his hands in the kitchen.
So wait a minute.
To be fair, I was going to say, to be fair, most kitchens are equipped with a sink, and a lot of cooks, especially for my days in Denny's, a lot of cooks will actually just use the wash-up sink that's in the back area for the cooks to use, to be fair. Although I will say, if there's other customers in there, you should be washing your hands just
there's a big
for
sign right over the
for how it looks.
Yeah, there's a big sign right over the sink that says employees must wash their hands after using.
Then maybe he's a contractor, not an employee.
No, he was the chef.
Yeah, but couldn't he be a contract chef? He's a contract chef. He cooks. He gets paid by commission. He's not an employee.
I don't think a lot of diners contract chefs, but all right, we'll leave that open. But we both went to the gig like ready to puke now, and not physically unwell after seeing that, because that can have a psychological effect on your
physically
on your digestive system. Yeah, so I don't think that's in the movie. I'm certainly
it can.
I can't find the link because I think
not like that.
Yeah,
I couldn't find it. Like I said, I was given.
Let me look up Daniel's.
I had put my top research people from Done Way Past Funny on it, and they couldn't find it.
Your top research people
from Done Way Past Funny, they couldn't find it. Yeah.
Okay.
And I've got some pretty good researchers on my staff. As a matter of fact, that's how they get their job.
I'm sending
as a
you
researcher
something right now,
being on my staff.
Matt, on your message, or what can I?
How now, Brown Cow? How are you sending it by text?
By Messenger. I'm going to send it on Messenger. Yeah, I'm going to send you a link on Messenger.
There seems to be a lot of men's videos.
I wish that I could figure out how to do, because there's got to be a way that I can just do this up on the computer now. And I was thinking that too, because didn't we, when I got my computer and stuff, we wanted to be able to do like more, because now I can share videos and stuff like that on here, right?
Yeah.
I got to figure out how to do all that.
I'd like for you to figure out how to get rid of the delay. That delay is it's annoying. It's annoying to me.
Totally.
Maybe it's just me. If I'm the only one that's bothered by it, then I'll adjust.
No, I'm so sorry. Everybody's bothered by it.
I'll say, because I'll wait 4 seconds before I let the sound come out my mouth. I'll do this. I'll go like, "Hey, Willie, what's going on?"
Godzilla.
Yeah.
Something.
Well, Dylan just came in the back.
Vimeo.com is spinning. I'm getting.
Yeah, Vimeo. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, All right, our guest is here. How about that? That's what that pop was. Dylan Times, I guess. Why don't you do the intro, Willie? Do the intro for Dylan.
But do it without the delay.
Yeah. Okay. So Dylan
3 seconds
Times
ago.
is Sioux Falls comedian. He was born and raised in the Pine Ridge Reservation, but he has been tearing up the Sioux Falls scene as of late. He produces a lot of shows. He's on a lot of shows. Tonight, we will be at the Black Flag Studios in Sioux Falls. And tomorrow night, both of us will be on the Funniest Person of the Year competition. Please welcome in Dylan Times, everybody.
Hey,
Good morning, Dylan.
Hey, guys.
Yay.
It's an honor to be here.
Now, did I just hear Will say you were born and raised on a reservation?
Yep, Pine Ridge. It's like on the south eastern corner of South Dakota.
Are you a Native American?
Yep, Oglala Sioux tribe.
Wow, very cool. How do you feel about this guy, our Mr. Geronimo? The guy who using Mr. Geronimo is one of our sponsors, and obviously a very white guy from the South, deep South. Does that bother you at all, this guy, Mr. Geronimo?
I'd have to meet him and see what he's all about, but some things are done out of respect.
I'll give you 2 seconds of him.
Hey there, I'm Mr. Geronimo, product manager for Tracy's Dog. What is Tracy's Dog? Well, for $50, we send you a high-quality sex toy right to you.
All you need to know.
That's fun. He gets my blessing.
Yeah. Now, are there a lot of Native American comedians? I don't know of any.
There's a good amount. I'm trying to break into the scene. As far as I know, there's some in Minneapolis, and then there's some in Seattle. One of my really good buddies, I'm sorry, I'm gonna clean my glasses. One of my really good buddies, his name's Casey Nicholson. He's someone who took me under his wing when I first started. He's a member of the Crow tribe in Montana, and he's blowing up all over Seattle and the PNW over there. And that's something I want to work towards. I really didn't realize.
As well.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, then there's a ton down there too.
Because I know of many Native American musicians, and there a lot of them I did not know had Native American backgrounds until I saw the film Rumble, which is about that. But it's just interesting because I was thinking last week I saw Freddie Prinze, and he was one of the first Puerto Rican comedians to actually break through long before any of the Latino guys on the West Coast did. He was one of the first people who broke through with that, and it was a cultural it actually helped his career, even though people didn't understand the culture he was making fun of. Some of the things he introduced became cliches as far as that stuff. So that it's a way to kind of break through on awareness and all that stuff. Do you incorporate any of the cultural stuff into your stage?
Yeah, I do like a lot of jokes about sports, native mascots. I do jokes about like a cultural ceremony, like such as like a name. I don't have an Indian name. I never had that ceremony yet, so I kind of roll with it and I'm able to have fun with it. And it's one of my closers. It's the borderline personality disorder joke I have. I just grew up like for 18 years. I was on the reservation and then went to college. After I dropped out of college, I wanted to move to Montana, and I was in Montana for about 9 years. And it wasn't until those last 2 years in Montana where I started doing stand up, and that shit saved my life. Sorry, I didn't know if I was guessing. That stuff saved my life.
Very cool.
You can say shit. What you can't say is Montana.
You can say
that's what you can't say.
I want to say like New York or like Chicago now.
Well, you can say Lenny, Montana. You can say Lenny, Montana. That's weird. This Vimeo thing's not loading at all, Will. It's
what
like
about
it's
Tony
not
Montana?
Hannah Montana.
Hannah
Yeah, well,
Montana.
you can. As a person, yes, but as a place, no.
And here we are
not.
back.
Yeah. Now tonight's show is a sober show. This is your show. You are the producer on this show, right?
Yeah, it's the very first show we have for a Black Flag Studios. It's a tattoo venue here in Sioux Falls. They give me like blessing to try and do a lot of cool stuff there, like open mics. We just had our first one this week. We're going to be starting to get podcast kickstarted there. And then this show's the first show of 2024. And then this was all Will Conway's idea, or the one Will C's idea. and Chris Fryer. Those guys have been very supportive with sobriety and causes and trying to help the Alcoholics Anonymous group that's near the area, the Narcotics Anonymous group that's near the area. And then we got a really good comic named Kerner. He just won our most recent local comedy award, and he's in the Snow Jam Comedy Festival, which takes place next Thursday.
Very
so
cool.
How long have you been in recovery, if you don't mind my asking?
Me, it's been a struggle. I tried to go the full calendar year of last year. I made it like 9 months and 10 days. I took a lot of personal stuff very personally. Like I had my family's trailer burned down back in Pine Ridge, fallouts with my siblings. It's just grown up stuff. And then I lost my grandpa back in like November. Wow. So I'm still working on recovering. So it's been like, what?
We're sorry for your
loss.
It's difficult.
Now, the fact that you took personal stuff personally, I take that personal. But the fact that I was just curious now. So you're in recovery?
Yeah, right now, just swearing off like alcohol and vaping.
So how long have you been in recovery then? Like, how long have you been clean?
I'd say about like 12 days now. I'm gonna try and finish what I started, and if I can't, it's just seeing a lot of these people's stories and stuff helps me carry on more. Like Conway's been a big advocate of that.
Wait a minute, Conway, Bill here. I mean, I'm sorry, Will.
Yeah, well, and I mean one thing. So one thing I want to say, especially about recovery in general, recovery has a lot of different looks for a lot of different people, and it's really, in my opinion, it's about trying to be a better person than you were the day before. If you have a slip up, if you have a shortcoming, you fall back into it. That's not necessarily such a big deal, but it matters of how long do I stay in that state, or do I get back up? Do I try again? You know what I mean? Because, in like the NA literature, one of the things that it says is that there's no shame in a relapse. The shame is in not coming back. And so like, it's really, people overemphasize, falling short and maybe having a usage or whatever. But the real question is, do I recognize that I'm slipping, and do I try and right the ship again, or do I just go off into oblivion? You know what I mean? And therein lies the difference, I think.
I didn't mean, I hope you didn't misunderstand what I was trying to say. I don't care if somebody falls short unless it's in sex. If you're short in sex, then it makes a difference. But other aspects in life, I expect people to fall a little short, so as long as we're not having sex, I don't care that you fall short. That's fine. And we're not having sex, right? I don't remember us having. No. Okay, good. Because sometimes I get blackout drunk and have sex with Native Americans.
I haven't made it to Maryland yet.
Oh,
they call that teepee creeping.
That's how you got scalped.
Trying to get a look at his buffalo briefs.
That's the sex part and recovery are an interesting thing, because here, at least in my experience with the people I've known who've gone to 12-step programs, a lot of them end up using it like a dating thing. And I always say that's the worst place to meet somebody, even if first of all you are working on yourself. You have to understand they're there to work on themselves. There's a reason everybody's there. So to have two people who are, I don't know if the thinking is, well, they're as fucked up as me, so it should be easier to get along with them, or what the thinking is there. But I would think it would make things much more complicated. You got two people who are just struggling to try to get their life back on track. It would just complicate things.
I think it's okay if your addictions complement each other, as opposed to
how so? How would
I mean, because it's like you can't have two people who are OCD have the same OCD. Like you can't both have like the same OCD, like let's say cleaning counters, because the counters will always be clean and the rest of the house will look like shit. You need someone who's like, I need clean counters, I need clean bathrooms, and then that complements. So. Yeah, so it's the same thing with addiction, and believe me, I'm an authority on addiction because I've never been
girls that are addicted to sucking my dick.
Yeah,
All right.
That's a healthy addiction. It's like, you know,
it's not. See,
I mean,
it's
I
not.
could be addicted to eating your pussy too. I mean, we'll compliment each other in that way. Why not?
As long as it's a safe dick. That's all I just want to say. There are dangerous dicks and there are safe dicks.
Yeah. So Dylan, which kind of dick do you have?
And then there's devil dicks out there too. You gotta watch
above
out
average
for those.
size.
Okay.
Oh my god.
No, we just wanted tonight's show to be something that there's a lot of comedy shows that take place at like bars usually or breweries and stuff.
Right.
And this tattoo venue, they don't really offer like anything to drink, so it's like bring your own stuff. So I usually bring like a case of water, but tonight I might like do seltzers or something that's. I don't know if it'd be out of bounds to do something non-alcoholic, but I think just to be safe, I'll do like seltzer water. There's this really good one called Lagunitas hop water.
Do they sell food at all at the what black what is it,
Black Flag Studios? There should be tonight because it's connected to a like a little strip mall, and at the very end there's a bar called La Carreta, and they should have food too as well. But if there isn't, then I'll bring like snacks as well.
A strip club? Is that what? That just complicates
a strip mall. It's like a little strip mall.
Like, yeah, it's all in the same building.
Okay,
like a mini mall.
A mall of strippers. All right, now
all this talk about sex is crazy.
Yeah, no. The reason I'm thinking this complicates things is we started today talking about comedians getting paid, and it makes it much harder to make a profit if you're working in a club that's only selling water and soft drinks. And so that's a concern. Food definitely helps if they're buying food and all that kind of stuff. Do they have a 2-item minimum or anything like that?
No, not really. It's just admission. It's a cool looking venue though. The way it's lit in there and the seating's pretty comfortable that we have. We were luckily given like 20 seats by another comic around here in Sioux Falls. He wanted to help us out. So it's kind of like a village effort, but we're all coming together trying to put on our best show. Which is going to be tonight, like about 12 hours from now at 9:30.
Wow. So